Alright, hello ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is Argent Saga. Today we're going to be getting into the rest of the commons, rares, and super rares from the set 1 of Betrayal. For the Argent Saga trading card game, I want to give a huge sorry for anyone that was looking forward to the content the past 2 days. I've been really busy, my fiance's been sick, and just had a lot to do Friday. So it'll be going out Saturday. And because y'all had to wait 2 days, I'm gonna make today is going to be the water and the argent, so the colorless and the water commons, rares, and super rares. So like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what y'all think, and we're gonna hop right into it. So this was not kind of like a newish card that a lot of people didn't see. I guess they forgot to spoil it with the rest of the commons, but this is Water's Augment. This is Shard Research Facility. It's a 4-drop augment, as you can see. It has an arrive, so whenever it enters the field, you place counters on this card equal to the number of water units you control. And at the end of your turn, you may remove one or more counters from this card. Add target spell from your discard zone to your hand that costs equal to the number of counters you removed. Then, if this card has no counters on it, sacrifice it. So this card's pretty good. I like it that I can recycle a lot of cards. It'll be good with our next common that I'm about to show you. The next common is probably the best common water card coming out, and it has a lot of hype behind it. But I think this card will probably see play. I don't know if it's like a full play set in constructed decks, but it's definitely like a 1 or 2 of, just to be able to recycle like certain key water cards. It's just really good. Next up, we have Ancient Serpent's Breath. This is also going to be the entry promo for the release events. It'll be full art, and the full arts do look really great. It's a 1-drop insta-cast spell, so you can play it during either player's turn. And it reads, as an additional cost to play this card, you may Shard Drain 1. If you do, return target unit to the top of its owner's deck. And then its original effect, if you just pay 1, is return target unit with cost 2 or less to its owner's hand. Then its owner draws 1 card. So it's okay. I think mainly this card is basically going to be used to tap 1, Shard Drain, put something to the top of their deck. And essentially because of the Shard Drain, this card is basically a free set them back a turn. And I think this card's great. I think this card is going to see play in every water deck, and it's pretty much one of the cards that you pretty much always want to splash in water, or if you're splashing water as a color. I think the full arts for this, for the release promo, might be a little bit, but I definitely think the foils for this is also going to be really, really expensive. So, absolutely great card. I think it's insane on the power level. But next up, we have Cryptic Secret. It is a 2-drop spell, so you can only do it during your turn. And it reads, play only if there is a destroyed light or water tower. So, kind of fixed within those colors. And then it reads, shuffle target unit back into its owner's deck. So this card's pretty good, depending on your towers. I think it's more of a sideboard card. Sorry about that. But the card's definitely not bad. I think the fact that it shovels something back into the deck can be really relevant. I don't know. I think it will definitely see play in the Betrayal format, just because of how limited that format is, but it's definitely not a bad card. And like I said, might see constructed play out of the sideboard. I don't know about main deck though. Next up, we have Drained Hag. It is a 3-drop unit with 2,000 power, and it reads, this card costs 1 less for each time you use Shard Drain this turn. So this card's really good. Essentially, if you Shard Drain a bunch of times, this card can be a 0-drop for 2k, which can be pretty good depending on your deck. I know with Akuma Silencer and Ancient Dragon Breath, this card can be a 1-drop for 2,000, which is pretty good. The fact that it's a vanilla is a little out there, but I think this card will be pretty good in a Betrayal format, just to force them to use Guardian cards. So, always a good card. Next up is Gathering Shardlight. It's a 2-drop insta-cast spell, so you can play it during either player's turn. And it reads, draw 2 cards and discard 1. I think this card's pretty good. Hold on. Pardon me. So, I definitely think the card's good. I think if you're running it in just like a Jemile X deck, it's going to be pretty good because the discard by itself isn't that much of a downside with how many cards you'll be drawing through Jemile and this card. So it might see constructed play. I definitely think if you get 1 or 2 of these, it's definitely not a bad card to run in the Betrayal format, but I don't know. Might see constructed play. I think it's pretty good. Next up is a Akuma Wavebender. It is a 3-drop 1,500 unit. And it reads, arrive, return target unit to its owner's hand. So this card's pretty good to help you continue certain plays or reuse arrive effects, or to just set your opponent back a turn if they used all their shards for like a 3 or a 4 drop. So definitely not a bad card. I don't know if this card will see constructed play. It is like small enough to like have a bunch of really small guys to like put counters on Jemile and then just keep controlling the board from there. Plus, if you put a standard shard sword on it, it becomes a 2K. So not that bad of a card. It very might see constructive play. I'm not sure, but definitely not a bad card. It'll definitely see Betrayal format play though. Next up, we have Kako, Brother of Destiny. Of Destiny. He's a 3-drop 2K unit, and he reads, this card costs 1 less if you control a Mirai. No, Mira. Man, I'm just butchering names today. Mira unit, and it reads, exhaust, put target unit in the discard zone to the top of its owner's deck. So you get to recycle certain units, which can be really relevant if you have to discard cards through either Jemile's effect or the Gathering of Shardlight effect. It's definitely not too bad, or if you just have to discard at the end of turn. So I don't know. He also has a pretty decent body, so he might be pretty good. Next up, we have Knowledge Unbound. It is a 5-drop card, so pretty steep cost. Let's see what it does, and it draws 3 cards. So I don't think this card's going to see constructed play, just because of the cost. However, I think this card wouldn't be too bad in the Betrayal format, just to help you dig for further things. At the same time, I don't know if you want to be tapping out just to draw 3 cards. It might be good in Betrayal format. I don't think it's going to see you playing constructed, but it's not a bad card. I feel like 3 cards for 5 is a little out there, but maybe that's just me. I could definitely be wrong. So next up, we have Mirai, Sister of Sight. So she is the sister to Kako. Keiko? I don't know. I'm butchering names today. She's also a 3-drop 2K, and just a regular unit. So they both have pretty decent bodies for 3 drops. That's pretty good. It costs 1 less if you control a Kako. So they both have synergy where they both reduce their cost. They can both potentially be 2K, 2-drop 2Ks, which is really good. And then she has Exhaust. Declare a card name. Reveal the top card of your deck. If it's the declared card, add it to your hand. Otherwise, put it to the bottom of your deck. Ooh. So this card could be pretty good with oh god, what's that card? It's the 1-drop. Hold on, I have my deck right here. With Azure, because you can look at your card, pretty much keep it on top or not, rest or exhaust this to add it to your hand. Or you can just recycle it with Kako, or recycle certain cards with Kako and her. So I definitely think, if anything, Mirai might see a whole lot more play, but definitely not a bad card. I don't think it takes a little bit of setting up, and if we have more like scry effects, or just like stuff that lets you put stuff to the top of the deck, but besides that, card seems pretty good, especially for a common. The power level for these cards are really great. We have a Reactive Rooms. It is a 2-drop instant-cast spell, so you can cast it during either player's turn, and it reads, return target unit that came into play this turn to the top of its owner's deck. So this card can be really good and can kind of like cripple certain strategies depending on what it is. Like most optimal plays, like turn 4 or 5, they play some really big guy. Wind has their blockade ship. I believe Red has their Enraged Dragon. So you'll put it to the top of their deck, and they basically just spend 4 to wait an entire turn to do things. So definitely not a bad card. I think it might be a little too situational for constructed, but it definitely might see play in Betrayal format, just because I feel like that's just a really powerful thing to do. Like, they can tap out for their, one card, well, good lord, any Destroyer, now that I think about it, like, they'll tap out for 6, play that, and then you can just put it back on top. Although I think the only card you actually don't want to put back on top is probably Azure Caster, or probably the Golem, depending on what your hand and board look like. But even that, so that might actually not be that good of a play, thinking about it. But I don't know. I think this card could probably be better early game, depending, and it also just depends on your board situation. So keep that in mind. Next up, we're getting into our rare. So this is our first one. It is Jemile, Suspicious Sorcerer. So this is a Jemile unit. He's a 3-drop 2K, so a lot of 3-drop 2K so far, so really good bodies. When he comes into play with, when a card comes into play with Shard Drain, deal 1,000 to target unit. So as long as a card has Shard Drain on it, you deal 1,000 to something. That could be pretty decent depending on how many cards with Shard Drain we have in the set. Because I think there's only a few in the starter that actually comes with the Shard Drain. So I guess it just depends on your pool, but he could be pretty good. He might see playing Constructed, maybe in like a Jemile Corona deck, because you can like ping damage off one another, but I'm not sure. Might see play in Betrayal format. It's a very big might, though. Next up, we have Tidal Rush. It is a 3-drop spell, has instant cast, that's a little arrow, or the lightning bolt in the top corner, and it reads, as an additional cost to play this card, you may Shard Drain 1. If you do, return target unit to its owner's hand. Return target unit to its owner's hand, then draw a card. So, this card is pretty good, looking at it, actually. So you'll pay 3, Shard Drain 1, so it's almost pretty much a 2-drop, to bounce something, or to bounce 2 things, and then you draw a card, so it replaces itself. So, looking at it, this card's pretty good. I don't know how relevant the fact that it's 3 will be, but I definitely think the fact that it hit a Shard Drain and the fact that it can hit 2 things and replaces itself, card's definitely going to see play. I think in Constructed, and more than likely in the Betrayal format. That's pretty much one of your like niche, like blue cards that you should be looking for if you have the Jemile deck and you're working with it, because that card's really good. Next up, we have Hana, Apprentice of Mayu. She is a 5-drop 2,500 unit, and she has an arrive. Put into play target unit with cost 2 or less from your discard zone into play. So she reanimates something for that's 2. So at least you can get back your some Stormfish, your Xerxes, your Shard Hoarders. So there's already your Azure Guardians as well. So on 5, that's probably not too bad. She can pretty much make 2 bodies for 5. So she can be like a watered down Strike of the Golems. So definitely not a bad card. I would probably run her in Betrayal format, but I don't know about Constructed. If not, maybe a one of in Constructed. Next up, we have a Akuma Juggernaut. This guy's a house. God bless his heart. He is a 5-drop 3,000 unit, so he's just huge. He has Guardian. If this card uses Guardian, switch it to active mode after this battle. So it's a unit with Guardian that constantly keeps using Guardian, which can both be a plus and a downside depending on how aggressive the deck you're facing or the deck you have, because you can just keep attacking with little ones, and if it's at that point in the game where he has to block, it has to block. Downside, even with saying that, though, this card can potentially be a 3-for-1 depending what their board state is. So, and it still has another effect. It has Shard Drain 1, and then it reads, this card cannot be targeted by spells or abilities this turn. So, the fact that this card can use Guardian multiple times, can save you from multiple different attacks, and he can protect himself from spells and abilities that target him, make him really good. I think this card's definitely going to see Constructed play. I definitely think this is pretty much your ideal 5-drop to play in Constructed if you're playing Water so far, at least from what I've seen. But good lord, this guy's an absolute house. He definitely play him in Betrayal format. This card will save you games and win you games. So he's just real good. Definitely play him. Next up, we're getting into our super rares. So this is Celestial Magic Chronostasis. God, that artwork looks terrifying. God bless. It is a 6-drop insta-cast card, so you can play it during either player's turn. And then it reads, place all units on the field to the bottom of their owner's deck in any order. Oh. So it's a Stormcaster on steroids. Good lord. So this card is really good. I imagine this is probably like the fastest way to get out of a board stall. Downside is it does hit both units, or both sides. So I imagine your most optimal play is like they finally killed all your units. They have a full board, and you can Chronostasis their entire board back to the bottom of their deck. I think we'll definitely see play in the Betrayal format. It might see play in Constructed. 6 is a whole lot for it, but I think for what you're trying to do for 6, it's definitely worth it, and I would definitely run this card. He seems pretty strong. Next up, we have Mr. Kin's Cryptic Familiar. So Mr. Kin's is the cat, which I did not realize until I read more into the card, and I think that's great. So it's a 1-drop 500 unit beast. Has an arrive. Look at the top 2 cards of your deck. Put them back in any order. So it has synergies with Mirai and Kako, along with Azure Seer. So you can pretty much fill to your the top of your deck and gain card advantage off it. And then also has an exhaust. Draw one card, then return this card to the top of its owner's deck. So this card's really good if you have a Mirai, because you can essentially arrive, look at the two, Mirai to look at to draw a card. And if you have another Mirai, or if you didn't do that, you can exhaust Mr. Kins, put him on top of the deck, Mirai to draw him, and then you will still draw for turn. Ooh, you can actually do that before you untap. That seems really strong. I just thought he was a really good unit, but more interesting plays with Mirai in him, so that's pretty good. I definitely think this card's going to see Construct to play without a doubt. Just the fact that like he can set you up for 2 turns and potentially, and he can like draw a card and constantly keep doing it. Plus, he can kind of get around removal with his exhaust, so it's a pretty good card. I don't think it's going to see Betrayal play as well. There's no reason not for it to see Betrayal play. So next up, we have our last water card, I believe. Yep, it is our Water Omega Magic. So this is Omega Magic Mizu, and it's a 2-drop insta-cast, so you can cast it during either player's turn. And to reach, choose 1, or if you have 2 or less towers remaining, choose 2. You can draw a card, exhaust target unit, or return target unit to its owner's hand if it is exhausted. So this card is really good. I feel like this card gives me like Cryptic Command like feels for Magic, and it's really good. This card can either deal with one really big thing, deal with multiple different things if one thing's already exhausted, or you can just do it to exhaust something and draw a card. This one I definitely think is probably going to be the most expensive Omega Magic, because I think this card's going to see a play in almost every water deck, and almost any deck that can splash a water should probably run this card. I think Ancient Breath is also really good, but I think this one does a little more. So definitely a really good card. So next up, we're going to get into our Argent rares, or our Argent cards. So little disclaimer about the Argent cards: they are colorless, so you can pay any kind of will to do it. They're not specifically locked to a certain color, so you can play this in a, let's say, a Dragonholt Fizzy deck. You can play Argent rares along with fire and water cards, or Argent cards along with fire and water cards. I keep saying Argent rare. God, I can't wait to do the Argent rares tomorrow. They're going to be super good. So, anywho, we're going to start off with Acidic Monger. It is a 2-drop 1,000 unit, and it has an Arrive, Destroy Target Augment. So this card will probably see play in the Betrayal format, because it seems like all the augments by themselves, if you pull one and it coincides with your deck, you should definitely be running them, because they all seem really valuable. And I think this potentially getting rid of an augment that could potentially save you in a matchup and putting a 1,000 body on the board is pretty decent. So definitely not a bad card. I can see this card definitely going into like a light deck just to deal with like wind augments, or opposing light augments, or even water augments. So definitely a pretty good card. Next up, we have Argent Archer. It is a 1-drop 500 unit, and it has Arrived, deal 500 to target unit. So this card's not too bad. I imagine that this is something that like you have to like combo together. So like you can attack with an explosive dragon into something. It'll crash. Its rune will go off, deal 1,000 to something else. Then you can play this to deal 500 to finish off the second thing. So not a bad card. It kind of like synergizes with everything, but it's definitely something you have to set up. I think if anything, you'll see play in the Betrayal format, but I don't know about anything else. Next up, we have Argent Egg. This is also going to be the promo for the October LGS tournament, I believe, where it's you get Yuki promo, Yuki mats, and then this, I believe, is the metal card. Either that, or actually, no, this is the metal card for the GZ event. That's our first release tournament. So, anywho, it is a 1-drop 500 unit dragon, so it counts for your dragon. So this card pretty much can go into almost any Dragonholt deck. And it has Guardian, so that's good, because that deck needs Guardian cards. So you can run the Argent Egg and the other egg, I'm forgetting its name. It cannot attack, which is fine. You're not really using it to attack. You just want to use the Guardian. And then it has a Ruin, so whenever it dies, you can put into play 1 Whelp unit token, and it is a dragon, it's colorless, and it's 500. So this can make 2 bodies. This can save you during the game, and it makes another dragon. Plus, it counts for the other eggs, like requirement of needing 2 dragons. So I don't think it's a bad card. I definitely think if you're running Dragonholt, you should definitely run this card. It's pretty much needed. And I think the biggest part for this card is that it has Guardian and it's a unit dragon. So Next up, we have Dancer of Time. It is a 4-drop 2,500 unit, and it reads, when this card is targeted by a spell, you may discard one card. If you do, expel this card and return it to the field at the end of turn. So this card's not too bad. I imagine this card, if anything, might see play in like a deck that can like recur certain things. Like this card might see play in like a water deck that runs like 3 of the augments and just lets them recycle spells and stuff to pretty much like let your graveyard have like be a second hand. And the fact that this returns at the end of turn. So definitely not bad. It gets around a lot of removal, so they pretty much have to crash into it if they want to try and kill it, or use a tower, obviously, because you can't respond to towers, but definitely not a bad card. So next up we have Novice Protector. It is a 1-drop 500 unit with Guardian. So another really low drop Guardian unit, pretty good. I feel like for decks that want more Guardian units, it's not bad, but I feel like since almost every single color has a decent Guardian unit, I don't know if this card will see play. If anything, maybe in Wind, just because like they don't have like any low drop Guardians, but definitely not a bad card. Next up, this is actually one of my favorite cards. I really want to make a deck around. I'm still brewing it up, but it's a Savage Mystic. It is a 2-drop 1,000 unit, and it reads, once per turn, when you cast a spell, deal 1,000 to target unit. So this is during either player's turn, and just whenever you cast a spell, you can ping something for 1,000. So I definitely think this card's pretty good. I think it has synergy with the Jemile unit, where you can like combo off with certain spells that have Shard Drain. At least I believe that's how that works. Even if it doesn't, it's still fine. Just the fact that like you can probably play like a really spell heavy deck and just shoot something for 1,000. Like in Darkness, you can Dust Strike something, give it minus whatever, and then deal it 1,000 to finish it off. So definitely not a bad card. I think this card will be a fun build around, and I'm trying to think of like a fun deck to play it, and I'm thinking something light. I'm not sure. I'm still figuring it out. Next up, we have Secret Project Aria? Ara? I don't know. She's a 4-drop 2,500 unit robotic girl. Oh, she's a robot. Oh, cool. I did not know that. Anywho, so she reads, your units adjacent to this card cannot be targeted by spells or abilities. Ooh. So I love that they're using the adjacent mechanic. I think this card could be pretty good. It can save certain units, make it so that they have to crash into it, or use a Guardian to try and, deal with it. This could also be pretty good in aggressive decks to be like, put this between 2 cards you want to keep attacking. They have to use Guardian or crash into them in order to deal with them. So yeah, pretty good card. I don't think it'll see Constructed play. If it does, maybe a 1 or 2 of, or maybe even out of the sideboard, depending on your matchup. But I think it might see play in some hold on, I'm trying to think, a Betrayal format. Sorry about that. I had a little brain fart. Anywho, next up we have Statue of the Argent Hour. It's a 2-drop augment, so it's an augment that you can play in any deck, and it has an arrive, draw 1 card. So already for itself, you pay 2 to pretty much cycle, which is really good. And then it has a sacrifice. So you'll sacrifice this card, shuffle up to 3 target units from your discard zone into your deck. So it recycles units. You get to draw a card. Yeah, no, this card seems really solid. I think it's probably a main deck 1 of, and probably a sideboard 2 of if you have room in your sideboard, because this card can just like help you cycle through your deck pretty fast. I don't know. I definitely think this card's pretty good. I think it'll definitely see Betrayal format play as well. Just the fact that you can like recycle like your bombs, and then you have a higher chance of drawing back into them. Plus, this card lets you dig deeper if you have multiple. So definitely not a bad card. Next up, and I believe this is our last common, it is. So this is Transfiguration Master. This card's really interesting. It is a 4-drop 2,000 unit, has an arrive, expel target unit, and if you do, roll a die. If the result is even, the owner of the expelled unit gets a hulking mech unit token. It's a unit Argent with 4,000 power. If the result is odds, the owner expels the unit, or the owner that expelled the unit gets a sulking mech unit token that's Argent, and it's 1,000. So it's pretty much, you have to be really lucky, and essentially you can get rid of one of your own things, and they'll either get a sulking unit, or that's 1,000 or a 4,000 unit. So I don't know. I think this card's an interesting try and make work with Oh, and I mean, it expels it too, so you really can't get ruin abilities. I don't know. I think if you can get this card to work, it's pretty good. But besides that, I think the card's kind of really bad. But again, maybe that's just me. If you get really lucky and get evens every time, it's not bad. The only thing I can think that this card might be pretty good with, and just might make this card even remotely decent, is the fact that you're paying 4 for 2,000. You're paying 4 for either 6,000 worth of power or 3,000 worth of power, and it's a really big risk for it. But I don't know. I want to say nice things about this card, but I don't know if it's there yet. So next up, we are going to get into our rares or our uncommons for the game. We have Cryptic Crystal. It is a special shard. So these go into your shard deck. You can only have copies of 3 of them in your deck. And it reads, if your spirit isn't water, this card comes into play tap. So unless you're running Fizzy, this card comes into play tap. It has an exhaust, produce 1, so taps for any color, which is really good. And then it has an arrive, so whenever it enters the field, you look at the top 2 cards of your deck, put them back in any order. So this card is really good. I think this card will see constructed play, if not in just straight any deck that can run Fizzy, then almost any deck, just because you have the chance to look at cards, see what you're going to get into. I think this card's going to see play in Betrayal format, and you don't even have to just run in if you pull the water deck. If you pull this card and you're running a wind deck, play it. It's sets you back a turn, and it can kind of stall you out for the moment, but you being able to dig and see what you're getting for the next 2 turns can be really relevant. So I definitely think the card's pretty good. Yeah, there's not much to say. I think this card's really great. It's definitely going to see play. Next up, we have Hollowed Crystal. It is another special shard. And it has the same clause as the other one. If the spirit isn't light, so if you're not running something with Sola, it comes in exhausted. Has an exhaust, produce 1 of any color, which is really good. And then it has an exhaust, pay 1. Target unit gets Guardian, or with Guardian gets plus 500 this turn. So this card can be really good in multiples, depending on how many Guardians you have. And I feel like this card is really good in the light deck specifically. I don't know if it's going to be good in Betrayal format. I imagine if you get it in your pool with the light deck, you'll pretty much be set. And the fact that it can give your Guardians plus 5, it can be relevant. It can almost actually save you the game a lot of times. So definitely not a bad card. I don't know if you'll see constructed play. Maybe when we get into the box toppers, it might, but we'll say that for another video, because that's a whole video by itself. So next up, sorry about that, we have Nightmare Crystal. It is another special shard, has the same clause except for darkness. So if you have a unit or a spirit that's not Luna, it comes into play exhausted. Exhaust, tap for 1 mana, or any shard, and then it has an exhaust. Send the top card of your deck to the discard zone. So as of right now, I don't think this card's too good with our current darkness. Champion, but I think when we get into our box topper champions, it might see play, and that's where I'll leave it at. I don't think it's going to see play in the Betrayal format right now, just because I don't think, yes, you can get certain cards back. There are some things that just let you reanimate, but there's not enough to make this to make it worth constantly doing. So. Next up, we have Wyvern Crystal, another special shard, same thing. If your spirit is anything but Corona, it comes into play exhausted, produce for any will, and then it has an arrive, add target dragon unit from your discard zone to your hand. If you do, discard 1 card from your hand. So I think this card's pretty good. I think it'll see play definitely in Betrayal format, let you get back all your big beaters if you have to crash into certain things, whatnot. I don't know if it'll see play in Constructed. The fact that you have to discard a card is a really big downside, and I think that's what's keeping it back. But it's not a bad card. Sometimes there are certain things you want to discard, but as of right now, in Fire, there's nothing I can think of. But not a bad card. So next up, we have Zephyr Crystal. Is another special shard, same thing as the rest of them. If your spirit is an air, comes into play exhausted. Has an exhaust, produce 1, so 1 of any color. And it has an exhaust, pay 2, destroy target augment. So I think this card might see play it definitely will see play in the Betrayal format, no matter what. Good lord. Why are people bothering me today? Definitely see play in the Betrayal format. And I think the card's really good. I think it kind of falls into the same category with the Acidic Monger, where like if you need to get rid of an augment, it's not bad to run, and the fact that it still produces a will is still good. I don't know. I think it's a decent one of, just that way you're not like clogging your entire like crystal count with it, but definitely not a bad card. Next up, we're going to get into our super rares, and I believe this is going to be our last ones for the day. So we have Amorphagus? I don't know. I probably butchered the name, but it's a 5-drop 2,500 unit with Guardian, so it's already really good. And it has a Ruined of, so whenever it dies, you put in a blob unit token with Guardian, and it's an Argent 1000. So this card's really good. I think this card's going to see play in almost any deck, because it can be put in every deck. It's essentially 2 Guardian units. This card can go into fire. God, Argent pretty much gave fire nothing but Guardian units. God bless. Because that's really what that deck needed, just to make it like a little better. But yeah, no, this card's really good. I think this card will see play in a lot of different decks, and I think this card's just really good. I think this is one of those cards that will probably be a lot of money, and I think will be money over time, because it's just the fact that like it can guard 2 attacks just for 5 is just seems really strong to me. Next up, we have Silver Watchwoman. She's a 4-drop 2k unit with Arrive. Place 2 counters on this card. Place 2 counters on the card when she arrives. And you have remove a counter from this card, choose 1. This card gains Quickness. This card gains target attack. Or prevent the next damage that will be dealt to this card this turn. So for 4, you can pretty much give it Quickness. You can give it target attack so it can kill something. Or you can prevent the next damage that will be dealt to it this turn. So it can save itself, it can be really aggressive, it can pick off units. I think it's pretty good. I don't know if it'll see constructed play, but I definitely think this card can be like premium removal if you don't pull a lot in your pool for whatever deck you get. So definitely not a bad card. Next up, and I believe this is our last one. I love this card just because he's a giant turtle. So extremely biased opinion, but it is Turn the Primal Turtle. He is a 7-drop 4k unit with Guardian, so he's just a big old Guardian boy, and he has an Arrive, deal 2,000 to up to 2 target units. So this card's pretty good. The fact that you can pay 7 and get rid of 2 guys potentially is really strong. The fact that it's Guardian and it's a 4,000 Guardian means that he can save you and almost guaranteed to live unless they have to waste multiple cards for it. The biggest thing I think his downside is that he's a 7-drop, and 7's a whole lot, because they can almost guarantee to like put you in a position where where they can get around you only having 1 really big Guardian card, especially if you're just going to hard cast this on turn 7. I don't know. I think he's going to be fun. I want to try and make a deck around him. I think he'd be tons of fun to try and build around, but yeah. Plus, I mean, like, come on, guys, he's just a giant turtle. Like, what more do you need? Anywho, that's been our Argent and our Water card review. Like, comment, and subscribe. Let me know what y'all think. Let me know what y'all opinions on the video were, and what y'all think of the cards. If you agree with me, let me know. If you disagree with me, let me know. Let's start a friendly discussion down below. That being said, y'all have a great day. I'll see y'all in the next video. Next one will be the Argent Rare, so get excited. Alrighty, y'all. Y'all have a good day. Bye-bye.